There we go. If you were here before, thanks for tuning back in again. So solutions and successes from the Mevo customer group. We were just about to start the first one. We talked about HDR and trying to look and see if HDR was worth using or not in a small space with artificial light, LED lights at that. So we talked through that part of it a little bit ago. And I want to encourage you once again, if you're popping in here and would like to give your solution, your success that you found as you've worked with the Mevo ecosystem, then please, by all means, do let us know in the comments. I'm doing my best to monitor those comments as they come through. Thank you, Leslie, for popping back in and saying hello. Glad to know you're here. As a matter of fact, Leslie, if you've got anything that you can let the group know as you're here tonight, that would be in the way of new features that are coming out for Sideline HD, please, by all means, have at it. Get in that chat and let folks know what they can be looking forward to as features have changed in Sideline HD. I tell you, I noticed that you changed your on base part of your scoreboard. I tell you what, it is tightened up and it's professional looking. Thank you for what you're doing over at Sideline HD for folks who are trying to stream their team's softball and baseball games. It's a great encouragement to all of us. So looking into the Mevo customer group, I picked out a few, but I would love to know what yours are. So if you have a solution that someone offered you or that you've come up with, by all means, put it in the comments. If you have a success, maybe a successful stream for the first time, or you had been having trouble and you figured things out, then by all means throw that in the comments so we can celebrate with you. But for now, I'm going to read a couple of them. I'm going to do my best not to call out the posters, because I know that the Mevo customer group is a private group. You may not want, if you were the one who was asking the question or giving the answer, you may not want to. So I'm just going to have to do a poster set and this is the answer that was given kind of thing. So here's the first one that I've picked out of the solutions and successes from the Mevo customer group. It says, I have 3 Mevos using the multicam app, and I want to keep one view zoomed in, but I can't find out how to do this in multicam. Can it be done, and if so, how? So the question is how to keep a view zoomed in on one of a 3 Mevo setup. And so what we want to see is that the setting you're looking for, and the answer that was given says this. On the right bottom of the Mevo, you select open the tab, select crop and put it where you want, and close. If the camera is your live shot, you can leave the window open and drag the view around to follow it. Now I'm going to go over to the overhead shot that I have and see if I can show you a little bit about what the answerer, what the poster who gave the answer was talking about. So let's get this iPad mini underneath this Mevo Start, and let's see if we can show them how to get that shot zoomed in. So if I wanted to zoom in on one of my secondary shots here, I'm going to tap on that ellipsis. Did you see the ellipsis there that I'm tapping on? I'm going to tap on that ellipsis. Oops, I didn't mean to get off of that screen. There we go. Tap on the ellipsis. And then I'm going to choose crop and zoom. And then for that shot, I have the ability to put that where I want to. And what the answerer was talking about, the one who answered that question was talking about, was if you want to leave this shot open, and I guess I could talk to you while I'm doing this because that's going to be one of the other shots, isn't it? If you want to leave this shot open, I do this when I'm streaming football games all the time. If the play is in this part of the field, I leave this shot open and I zoom to where I want it, and then I just follow the play as it moves across the screen. So the one who answered this question was correct in where to find this crop and zoom in the multicam app, but he also gave great advice in being able to move your crop and zoom, move that zoom, that shot that you have within that camera's view. So I'm going to put that back kind of where it was. That's got to be pretty close, huh? And then I'm going to come over back to where we were. And we will continue with what that answer was, because that wasn't all the answer that was given. And so the next one to post gave the answer that you can set your zoom up in the 2.0 app while you're setting up the audio. We know that in the multicam app we still have to choose we have to choose our audio sources in the multicam app. We have an audio slider that's an output slider, but all the input stuff is done in 2.0 at this point. So we have to go into 2.0 if we're going to change audio settings from one time to another. And so while you're there, if you want to set your zoom while you are in each of those connected to each of those cameras, that's a great time to do it. But the original answer was also true in that if you want to change that shot, it is in that ellipsis on the active cam or on that camera you're talking about, and then you can change it. So yeah, good answers to a common question that comes up all the time, and I appreciate those who had the willingness to give that answer. So I'm looking over at our chat, and I'm really hoping that somebody is willing to put their own solution or success. If you've had a successful stream and it is a success we can celebrate, then by all means pop in here and give us that input so we can say, oh, hey, great, good job and way to go, and put that out there for everybody to get to celebrate with you. I'll go ahead and highlight the next solution that was offered on the Mevo customer group. Again, if you have solutions to offer from the Mevo customer group, if you have successes, you go ahead and put yours in chat as well. But the next one says, does anyone know if a fourth camera can be added to multicam? Now, this is a question that originally began being asked: how many can we use? How many can we add? And the answer has been a pat constant always since it came out. It's been 3. We got 3 cameras. 3 cameras is great. Now, some of the reasoning behind why we get 3 cameras has been made a little clearer as we've gone deeper into what cam actually is. So when you're streaming with Mevo 2.0, the Mevo camera itself is doing the encoding, and it's the one making all of the number crunching that makes a stream happen. When you're streaming with multicam, your control device is doing the encoding. So there's a whole lot more CPU requirement. It's doing a whole lot more number crunching on your tablet or on your phone when you're running multicam. Now it's not doing all 3 cameras all at the same time all the time. It's doing 1 camera at a time still, but it's having to keep up with how many cameras are there. So a 3 camera system is probably pretty taxing for a lot of tablets and a lot of phones. And so there's a little bit of reason why there's a 3 camera limit at the moment. They could go 4 or 5 or even 6 for someone who has a 2021 iPad M1, iPad Pro M1 processor kind of thing. That device could probably handle it, but there'll be some if they added all those, and there would be some frustration there, I'm sure. So, does anyone know if a 4th camera can be added to multicam? The answer is actually it can be. It just can't be 4 at a time. You can actually have 4 cameras on in your setup. You can have 4 or 5 or 6 cameras on in your setup. You just can't connect to all of them at the same time. And there are some folks who have begun to give that answer. So one of the guys who answered the question in this particular opportunity for a solution says, so I use 5 cameras in multicam, and depending on what I'm doing, I'll remove a camera and add a different camera of a different view. All 5 are on. Make sure that all cameras are set to not auto shut off. That's great advice. Thank you for including that in your answer. He says, in my venue, I have 2 pointed on stage and 1 on a balcony looking at the crowd. When we have a speaker on the balcony, he says that's due to COVID or for impact. He says, I remove one that is pointed on stage and add an additional camera pointed at the performer. I also have another audience cam, and depending on what's going on, I may remove the balcony cam and add the audience cam in its place. So he's shuffling 5 cameras in 3 spots. But depending on what's going on, that allows for a much more robust stream. He's able to choose from 5 shots. It does take a moment. That if you had 4 or 5 cameras and you wanted to put them up and down a football field, the way that access point works, where your cameras are talking to one, right? That central camera. I could imagine, and maybe not the way the software is released right now, but I can imagine it working at some point so that you have several cameras up and down that field. 3's the limit now, but it could be more. So, yeah. Are you familiar with the WSN streaming service? Rick, I am not yet familiar with the WSN streaming service. I hope that Ruston, Louisiana has had an incredibly successful year in football, just like they did in baseball. It's been a joy to get to know you, and that golden voice that you have, Rick. It's good to see your name pop up on this live stream. So, yeah, can we do more than 3 cameras? Can a 4th or a 5th be added? And the answer is, if you're willing to shuffle in those 3 slots, then yeah, we can. They can't be there all at the same time. So, hey, great question, great answer from the Mevo customer group, and we appreciate that the one who gave that answer from personal experience, right? All right, so I don't see any successes or solutions in the comments just yet, but if you have one, if you have your own success, he says blush. Rick, come on, man. We all know you've got the golden voice. I mean, let's just be honest about it. So if you have a success or a solution in your experience with streaming with Mevo, put it out there, man. Let us celebrate with you and see how folks are on your side. They're cheering for you. They're in your corner. I guarantee you. So the next question or comment that was made. Says, I live streamed my first softball game yesterday and the Mevo worked great. Well, there's a success. Woohoo! Way to go. I wish I could call your name. I wish I had permission to call these folks' names, but I'm not going to do that because it's a private group they've posted in. But wow, first softball game, successful live stream, and the Mevo worked great. Well, I know that the parents that you had that got to watch that, or grandparents that got to watch that who couldn't be at the game, were fired up. And I can tell you who was even more fired up than that. Those kids who played in that softball game and got to go back and watch their highlights. Now, I don't know if this poster who says I live streamed my first softball game yesterday and the Mevo worked great. This was posted yesterday afternoon, looks like. So maybe that person will get to recognize that they'll get to recognize that this is who I'm talking about, because I'm going to point you over to Leslie. I'm going to say, hey, you need to be using Sideline HD if you're not already. I don't know. I didn't see your live stream. I didn't see a link for it, and so I didn't find it. But if you're not using Sideline HD, if you're not using the features that they offer there, you should be, because that will take your live stream from, hey, successful live stream, to, hey, wow, that looks professional. Way to go. Great job. Thrilled for you, and woohoo, all that good stuff. Okay, but then there's also a question. So it was a success, and there's also an opportunity for a solution here. I would like to now take the games from my SD card and edit them on my computer. They say I have a HP Chromebook. Is there any software or apps I could download to help with that? I want to zoom in on certain plays if I could and make clips. The offer was made, the answer was given, that DaVinci Resolve is a powerful free resource, but I'm pretty sure DaVinci Resolve is not available for Chromebook. If you have an iPad, LumaFusion is a pay app, but man, it's incredible. If you have any of the Apple products, and a Macintosh or an iPad or even an iPhone, iMovie is a good, solid clip maker that you can pull from your videos. You can pop that SD card in and be able to. Okay, Leslie. I mean, it's the standard. So let's all that false humility you guys are throwing out there. Y'all can take that somewhere else. No, I'm just kidding. I appreciate the humble spirit. I'm just teasing with you. So iMovie is a good one if you're in the Apple ecosystem. But if you've got a Chromebook, you can look up WeVideo. You can look up Power Director, and I've heard good things about Magisto. Those are some good video editing apps for the Chromebook. So if that person didn't get the answer they were looking for, the next answer was Adobe products, and I don't know if the Adobe products will work on a Chromebook. But if you're going to use a Chromebook, sometimes you're limited as the software that you have access to. So Magisto is one that's recommended very highly. WeVideo is another, and Power Director is another. I don't have experience with any of those because I don't have a Chromebook for myself for testing. But there you go. Maybe that can be a solution in addition to the success of, way to go, great first stream for your softball game. All right, I'm going to keep checking ever so often to look and see if we have anybody who has who's posted a success or a solution of their own experience, and see if that's going to show up in the chat or not. I don't see any yet, but I'm holding out. I just know that somebody's going to be able to highlight a success or solution. I wish YouTube would let us put URLs in places like that. They do not like to put URLs in comments for videos, and they do not like to put URLs in the chat. So if you've tried and you can't, I'm sorry. But yeah, to be able to go back and look at what your success was, if you've had a live stream that was successful, oh man, that would be incredible to get to watch. But so the next one, we'll go ahead and move on down my list. I just did my first live stream with the Mevo Start. I didn't have Wi-Fi, so I was in hotspot mode, indoors with 3 people talking. When I zoomed in on one person, the camera would cut back to the wide shot. I zoomed in again, and again the camera cut to a wide shot. Any idea why this would happen? Anybody want to answer that one? This is one of the ones that our new Mevo users, they just don't have the experience yet to know. But I can tell you this, folks, never make them feel like they're less than for not knowing. They're always faithful to give that answer, and it's always the same answer. It is, and probably should be off by default. Sometimes it's not, but the answer was turn off autopilot. That's right. Yeah, get that autopilot turned off. It's in the it is in the Mevo 2.0 app, of course, where that feature is. I'm going to look and see if it's also in the. It is not also in the multicam app that I can see, at least on the one that I have running right here. So yeah, autopilot. There you go. See, I knew it would come. Right. Way to go. Yeah, turn that autopilot off, and then it won't be choosing different shots based on either your presets or on your different cameras. Autopilot is always the culprit if your zoomed shot won't stay zoomed. All right, so I've got a couple of. Leslie says it's gotten me many times, that autopilot, and mine gets turned on. So, and I never turn it on purpose, but somehow it gets defaulted back on. So, all right, here we go. I think we've got one. I think we've got a success. Rob says, I did a test with the Mevo Start in the backstop yesterday for a pitcher, catcher, batter, ump shot. Brought into Wirecast via NDI, way to go, and combined with our Pressbox cam, which is a Sony MC88 maybe? All right. Combination of cameras using NDI. Oh, NDI is such an incredible boon to what we're doing. I use NDI whenever I'm bringing my Mevos into ProPresenter in the church setting sometimes. And to bring everything back into one place where my media person can run it all. Oh, wow. NDI is such an incredible, great benefit to us. I'm glad you're getting to use it, Rob. That's beautiful. Did a test with the Mevo Start in the backstop. So you had a behind the umpire view, and then you were able to use your Pressbox cam as well, which I'm sure is an overview of the entire infield. Wow, I wish you could share a link. Man, I would love to go over and look. Maybe, let's see, maybe I can find you. Maybe I can find your YouTube channel if you put that to YouTube and get to see that, because I'd be excited to see what you produce there through Wirecast. Way to go! Super fantastic. Good job, Rob. I know your players and the families of your players were excited to get to go back and watch that later. That just fires me up. Thank you so much for sharing that in the comments tonight. That is super duper. All right, so I'm going to look at another one then. Let's keep going as we've got a few more picked out to look at tonight. All right, the next one says, I am ready to purchase an iPad to use as a controller for Mevo app, for the Mevo mic, for OBS, for Zoom. What minimum requirements should I look for? Thanks. There was one answer given, and it was given pretty quickly after that question was asked. Thank you for the expertise to the one who answered this question on the Mevo customer group, because you nailed it. You said you're looking for 3 gigabytes of RAM. That's it. make sure that the iPad you buy has 3 gigs of RAM, because that's the requirement that we're looking for. That is going to make sure it's a little bit future-proof. It's going to handle all the things that Mevo can throw at it right now. I don't know that you can run OBS on an iPad yet. If you can, super. I'd be fired up about that. Or you may just be talking about controlling it as it goes into OBS. But at some point, with the M1, at some point, OBS has got to be ported over to iPad so that we can use it there, and that's going to open up a whole new world for a lot of folks. So, what specs on that iPad should it be? And you nailed it when you said 3 gigs of RAM. That's what you need. He also says basically don't buy a used one over a year or so old. Most of the newer ones have 3 gigs of RAM. That's the truth. Yeah, and you can do a Google search. You can do an online search where you're asking for iPad specs RAM. And it'll show you as each one has been come out. And there's some folks who have put really nice charts out that will show what each iPad has in terms of RAM. So that's a good question and a great answer. Thank you so much for being willing to share that. All right, checking that chat stream again to make sure I'm not missing any successes that are being listed there. And I don't see a new one, so let's keep going. Okay, I need help trying to live stream multicam, and the app says I need to add app to Facebook. Cannot find it where it says it is. Not sure what to do. Thanks in advance. And the answer has been given. And this answer was an excellent answer because it pointed them to help.mevo.com. And there is some incredible, well-written help at help.mevo.com. If you're going to be looking for how to add the Facebook app to either Mevo 2.0 or multicam, what you're going to need to be able to search there is stream to a Facebook group. That's the title of the help article that's going to give you the answer. So when you go to help.mevo.com, if you don't find this comment and just click on the link, but you're searching it for yourself, at help.mevo.com, search stream to a Facebook group, and you'll find your answer. I'm sure that the original question asker has already found that because the answer was given, and they provided a link straight to this same article. So yeah, thanks for doing that. All right. I've got one more that I would like to highlight. Let's see, we are 10 minutes until 9 my time. So the next one says, help, can someone make a suggestion? Here's our setup for Sunday morning. Our iPad wired to the soundboard. It's picking up the sound well from the mics connecting to the soundboard, but it's also picking up the sound from the iPad itself. Both mics are active. So your input is active and the internal mic from iPad is active. All right, it continues. If someone is moving the iPad or whispering when running the iPad and away from any mic, okay, so those noises are getting picked up because the internal mic is active in the iPad. All right. I thought if the iPad was wired directly to the soundboard, we wouldn't get the iPad mic working as well, but I take it I'm wrong. And yes, I have the speaker on mute in the Mevo 2.0 audio. Hey, great call. Any suggestions from any audio people out there? Thanks so much. And we do have a resolution to this question. We do have a solution here, and the solution comes in this form. It says, it is resolved. An iRig between the iPad and soundboard is necessary. You then don't have to mute the iPad. Without the iRig, the default goes to the iPad, so it doesn't matter what you do. So iRig solved the problem. Okay, so there you go. Somebody was able to work them through that, or they were able to troubleshoot it themselves and finally figured it out just by doing their research. And so that looks like a successful solution from the Mevo customer group. For those of you who have stuck with me, thank you for being here tonight. It's been such a joy to get to celebrate some of this stuff. This is something I would like to do periodically, maybe every other week, maybe once a month, I don't know. But this has been a blast to hang out with some of you, to see some names that I haven't seen in a while. Thanks for tuning in tonight, and God bless you guys. I hope you have a great evening.